Wait, did they just want you to shimmy? What was the note? Like, hey,
it was kind of like, like a hullabaloo dance from like the 60s, that's what I was doing.
I do have a bone to pick with Andy, and I'm going to be riding him real hard for the next few episodes. This dude, his behavior, he is showing up all the time, unannounced. Like, Andy shows up again, unannounced. Like, it's happened for the first 5 or 6 eps that I've watched with him.
Well,
like,
they were high school flames, so like,
yeah,
he spent
but like,
a lot of time in the house.
How about hi, I'm in the house. I was just driving by.
Well, this is the era kind of before. Not everybody had a cell phone in '98.
Right, so you just show up at a girl's house?
Hey, you knock, you leave a letter, you bump into her at the store accidentally. I don't know. What did you do?
I don't know, but I would never just drive to someone's house and show up like 3 times in a week just going, hey, I was in the neighborhood. I think he's a little clingy. Is all I'm going to say.
Little stalkery, as she says.
Yeah, it's a little, right? Like, I'm not out of my...
Okay, but the one time it wasn't him. It was the shapeshifter weird people.
That's true. But he
did
show
an
up...
awfully good job of acting not like him, by the way.
Ted?
Yes. T-dubs.
T-dubs. But you do... Like, I'm not crazy, right? Like, that behavior is not...
Well, I didn't notice it till you
cute.
mentioned it, but sure.
Well, I think it's in a later episode that we will dive into at some point. Like, there's flowers on Prue's desk, and like she walks in, and the camera turns around, and he's hiding behind the door, and he shuts the door.
Okay, Drew, are you skipping ahead because that's cheating?
I apologize. Okay, let's rewind because
Tony,
BK, why don't you introduce your buddy?
Tony Dennison, man, his career goes so far back. The Initial Dad, wonderful actor and man who's gone on from our show to, I think he's on his 3rd television show now, The Closer, Major Crimes, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the new show.
Is it The Night Watchman or The Watchman?
No, the...
Night Court? He'll tell
totally
us.
Different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
But he's done so much,
and
he started back in the 70s. He's been there, and he came in as this powerhouse father figure to the girls, which I think really set the tone and kind of legitimized the badassness of who they are, and told a little bit more of the story who the girls were. So I don't know if that's much of an introduction, but
he's the OG dad.
I met Tony on the show, and then I did an episode of The Closer, and I was only there a couple of days, guest star of the week. And
did you? I didn't know that. I love that show. I have to watch that.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. It was awesome. And, you're sitting on the set. You don't want to bug the other actors or kind of, but you kind of want to hang around. You get your coffee. You're at the craft service. And, he was so talkable and likable, and we engaged, and everybody on that show was so engaging and great. And since then, I've played poker online with them at different charity events.
Oh my gosh!
Words with friends here and there. So I've kept in a little bit of contact, but not really. And to re-engage with him doing this is fantastic. I admire the man a ton as a human and as an actor. So
and you did technically reach out through Words with Friends, correct?
Yes.
I just want to get that detail correct.
I didn't have his number.
Can we get that on the record officially, please?
Yeah.
That's
wow.
really funny.
I'll play a move.
And then
wow.
go, man.
Modern technology
what are you doing on a
at
random
its
Tuesday?
finest.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Look at Ollie taking notes again. Babe,
Sorry.
Put the pen down. Yeah, let's bring him in.
Please do.
Absolutely.
Tony Dennison, welcome to the House of Hallowell.
Oh my God, there's a lot of people. Wow.
Hi.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
Oh, hi, Holly. How are you? I don't know if you remember me. It was like 9,000 years ago that I worked with you on the show.
It was only 8,000 years ago. Of course I remember you.
8,000 years ago. Hi, it's good to see you. You look wonderful.
Thank you. It's good to see you too. I love a man with hats. More hats than I, because I got a lot of hats.
I love fedoras, and I have baseball hats too up on the other wall. So
that's amazing. Minor
league, basically AAA teams, because you can get a really wide variety of different, because they're not necessarily, like if they're Yankees, a Yankee farm team, they don't necessarily have the Yankee farm symbol. They have some, like I have the radioisotopes from New Mexico. I have the Nashville Sounds. It's a guy swinging a guitar. And then I also have Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Riders, Route 66. I love it. I love that stuff.
That's amazing.
I was actually commenting on your
now that
hat.
I've bored you all to death with my hat collection.
Not at all.
No, I was leading with it. I actually said I went and when I saw you yesterday to drop off the mic, I was like, man, Tony has got a lot of hats. Like I've never seen so many fedoras. Do you wear them all, or is it more kind of now like a collection thing?
Once in a while I wear them. Yeah, sure. Depending on if it's bright and sunny. I basically wear my Panamas a lot now, but I have a couple of fedoras that I really like. I have one. It's the third one over up on the top.
Yep.
It's Adams Hat Company. I don't know if it's his granddaughter or his great granddaughter, Stacy Adams hats, but Adams hats. They went out of business in 1935. So that hat. I used to be a newspaper editor a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. and that hat belonged to the editor of the Daily News in 1932. I went to his estate sale where I went up to where I went to college, and I went to the estate sale. I mean, they could have been sending me a line of, whatever, like, I'll buy it. So it's like one time amazing. I was in England, and I was in Kent, where Charles Dickens, one of my heroes, my literary heroes, used to hang out in this place called the Bull's Whip Pub. So I'm sitting, and I'm like this, hip, slick, and cool New Yorker, right out of college, like can't sell me anything. And I'm in this booth, and there's these initials carved into the tables, which, believe it or not, the Europeans have they want to do, carve initials everywhere. So there's these initials in this table, CD. They were the largest initials in the table. So I said to the guy, I said, whose initials? He goes, well, it's Charlie Dickens, mate. And I said, who? What? Charles Dickens said? He goes, oh, yeah. I was like, again, I was like, gone.
They spotted you a mile away, and they know exactly what you wanted to hear.
Okay, you smart aleck New Yorker.
Okay, so I'm going to dive into the abandonment issues immediately. Daddy issues number 1.
Oh, okay.
So why did we
Please.
have 2 dads? Why? And I think I know the answer. Although we weren't told. I think you were just too busy to be our dad.
There was a couple of different stories, and I was told by Les. I don't know if Les is even still alive. I wasn't his friend. I knew Les through my friend David Burke. But he had said to me that at one point, he said they were concerned that you looked too young to be their dad.
Oh my goodness.
I was old enough to be your dad. I was 42 or something at the time when I did the show. So, or 44 or something. And I said, I'm old enough. And they said, yeah, but they said people were concerned, like when you went over to hug the girls, you know if you're going to hug them or kiss them, And, they were trying to make me feel better about it. But the guy that they hired, what's his name, Drew, he was a nice guy. I knew him. I know him. He's a nice guy. And I was disappointed. Because I'd never done a science fiction thing before.
Right.
And I remember the one day I had to shake because I was being, zapped by something.
God,
and I thought, this is hilarious.
Our really rocky beginnings. I
know, but I was having so much fun. I really was. And it was and then when they did that, they put me in that special effect where I slid back in the room because you guys all zapped me. That shit was can I say that word?
Yeah, you can.
You're allowed.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That stuff was cool. That was cool. I had so much fun.
No, that shit
really
was
did.
fucking cool. You can say
it
that.
Was.
It was.
It was cool. Because I'd not ever done a science fiction before that. I was gangsters or cops. That's all I basically played.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to confirm that you didn't quit us.
Which
you clearly went on to better shows.
I enjoyed working with you. I didn't know you at all. I had run into Shannon one time at a party. Somebody thought, hello, how are you? But Alyssa I knew a couple of times. I'd met her a few times. We had a lot of the same mutual friends, Kathy Moriarty, and especially Kathy Moriarty. So when I got to the show, I said, okay, fine. I was happy. I was happy to be there.
Yeah.
And I would have had just as much fun if I had wound up, reoccurring or being a regular forever. It was fun.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I love what I do. At the end of the day, I love what I do. It's like I was just watching Patton again the other night for the 400th time. And he says, when he's overlooking the battlefield, he goes, I love it. God help me, I love it so. And I do. I love what I do, and I love it so. God help me, I do.
You know what? And you can tell it makes a difference when an actor loves what he does, and that's why you work so consistently, because
and I loved working with Aaron Spelling, because I met him through Michael Mann, and because Michael had given him his first break back on oh my God, what was the show that Bob Urich did in Vegas? I think it was called Vegas, and
right.
So Michael, so in a sense, Aaron was Michael's godfather. He was his rabbi. And so
that's pretty amazing.
So I met him at a Brandon Tartikoff birthday party, because Brandon, I was very close with Brandon, and it was Brandon's 40th birthday party. And so whatever I said or did that day, Spelling just took a liking to me, and I was telling Brian the other day that before I came to work for you all, it was during a period of time where my career, for some reason, I don't know what I did. Maybe in a former life I had some bad juju, bad karma, something was happening. I couldn't get arrested for like 4 years at anything. And I said, if my mother was a casting agent, I still wouldn't have gotten the job. And so I get a call, and they say, Aaron wants you to play, to be on Melrose Place. And I go, Melrose Place? I said,
wow.
I'm not even remotely, because he says he wants you to be on. He wants you to do 10 episodes. And I was like, well, all right. He said, don't worry, he'll take care of you. He'll make it worth your while. And I was like, I said, all right, now how do you say no to him? You know what I mean? You can't say no to, one of the most powerful guys on television. So I said, I said, of course I'll do it. Are you kidding me? I like the guy. That's great that he even thought of me. So then when they called me up and they told me the deal memo, and I saw what he was paying me for each episode, I said, oh my God, are you kidding me? I said, can I be on the show forever? Do you know how many people come up? They come up to me all the time for Crime Story,
of course,
playing Ray Luca, and that's great. And that was like 30 some odd years ago.
Wait, Time Magazine had you as villain of the decade?
Yeah, the best villain of the decade, yeah.
That's
for the 80s.
That's
for the 80s.
Badass.
Yeah. I didn't,
That's amazing.
My publicist just called me up and somebody said, you ought to check out Time Magazine, the end of the decade issue. And I go, why? He goes, just check it out. And I look and I say, oh my God.
That's
but
awesome.
anyway.
Oh my God, they gave you no warning. That's crazy.
I know. Because I didn't have a publicist at the time. I wasn't working.
Yeah.
So this came out and I was like, okay, So people would come up to me all the time for Crime Story, and now they come up to me because of the closer and Major Crimes. But every once in a while, and so I should say more than once in a while, very frequently, people will come up to me and say, oh, you were the dad on Charmed. And I said, oh, yeah, thank you. Oh, my God, what happened to you? Why did you leave the show? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, and like I said, I don't really know the answer. I said, it's above my pay grade why they let me go.
I don't know the answer either. That's messed up.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my best man on it.
It is what
we'll get to the bottom of this.
It is what it is,
Now, coming in, did they have notes on how? Perhaps it was written in a character breakdown of you had this big reveal as the father, and obviously you knew that going in. But
well, it wasn't magical or I had no powers or anything. But the woman who eventually came on and played my wife, she had. She was the one that was the witch, and I wanted to work with her because I liked her as an actress.
She's great.
But I was long gone then. But Drew, right, was that guy who replaced me? Drew replaced me, right?
No, this is Drew.
James.
No, James replaced.
Yeah.
Me, yes. But anyway, the first year, I guess I was on in the first year or the second year or whatever.
You were on the third episode of the first season. Ever.
Are you kidding me?
You were established really early. So, to that end, it's amazing that people still to this day and that speaks to the scope of the fandom and how much people really love this show and attach to characters.
Tony, you came in to play their dad for the first time, and here we are, the third episode of a show. We've already met the girls, what they do, their relationship with each other, and then now we're bringing in the dad, and it changed the dynamic of who these girls are. And at the end of the episode, I got goosebumps last night watching. It's like it was real emotion that you guys had in the scene, that you felt for each other, and you kind of described their life and what to look for, and kind of set the precedent of how badass they are, and maybe a lot of that's in the writing, but you brought a headiness to it that really made it real, and I was wondering if that's it kind of solidified. Okay, here the girls are going forward. They have this love is real, everything's real. The warning was real, and I wonder if that was something that had spelling and you guys had talked about as far as character bringing into it, or just it's just you ran it yourself and just said, this is what I'm bringing and here I come.
Well, I mean, I don't try to anticipate anything when I go in and do work on any show, and I'm somewhat organic. I tried to be organic. I'm not a methadone actor, like some people, but I'm I just try to be somewhat organic, and again, I just you try to find your way. I'm not one of those. My character would never say anything like that. I just,
right.
It's like kind of like I'm curious about this line. That's what I might say. But in that particular case, I was having so much fun because I'd never done magic before, or sci-fi. It was. I'm telling you, when I had to do that scene, when I'm standing, I'm like thinking, I said, wait a minute, guys, I got to do this slot again. Because I was being zapped into something.
Yeah, wait. How did they describe that to you? Do you remember? So what's going to happen is this.
And it reminded me of like Ian McShane, who was a friend of mine. He was telling me that when they were doing Jesus of Nazareth, and Anthony Powell was up on the cross, and and he says down to Zeffirelli, he goes, Franco, he goes, what should I be doing? And Franco says, Tony, don't worry about it. The music's going to take care of everything, And so he goes, just So that's what Les said to me. He goes, don't worry. He goes, it's a special effect. It's going to take care of everything. It'll all be explained later on. And I said, okay. Because the first time I did it, I was like, I just started laughing. I said, oh my God. I said, what am I doing?
As
did they just want you to shimmy? What was the note? Like, hey,
it was kind of like, like a hullabaloo dance from like the 60s, that's Lord. What I was doing. And, all missing was Joey Heatherton and, Anne Margaret. And I was just, but then I started really getting into it, and I had a ball doing that stuff. I had a ball. Oh. Then I said, can't I have magical powers, I want to be able to go like that to somebody, you know what I mean?
Throw him a bone. Throw him a something.
I mean, I can't like twinkle my nose like Elizabeth Montgomery could do, but
That's bewitched, kids. That is.
I met her one time. Les
was one of our producers in the first season, and he was an old-time producer. He smoked in his trailer.
Oh, Les, yeah.
Yeah, he would get us cheeseburgers from Islands at lunch. Like, he was a great guy to have in the beginning stages there, because it really did become like a family atmosphere. It was really important. He and Shannon were really close, and he was one of the original guys. He was great.
He worked for my friend David Burke on Wise Guy. David Burke, who was one of the writer producers on Crime Story, he and I we're still friends to this day. But when David went off to do Wise Guy, Les was one of the producers on Wise Guy. So that's where I had met, when I went in, when Ken Wall got hurt and I filled in on that show, I met Les then. And he was just leaving when I filled in that arc. And he went off to do some other stuff. And then, then not too long after that, I got the call about showing up on after I did the Melrose Places first. And then I wound up doing your show. But it was, it was nice. I was supposed to do a show with, what's her name? I can't think of her name now. But anyway, I was going to do the show for some sort of adventure kind of show for Aaron. And it just didn't work out. I guess the chemistry between me and the actress, Ashley, her first name was. I can't think of her last name now. But anyway, which our chemistry just didn't jive, I suppose, because they were just looking, for that kind of like Romancing the Stone. But that was well before Romancing the Stone. But that kind of energy, and we just, we didn't connect. But he was so great because he said, if you get the job, you're gonna have to move to Hawaii. And I my cat. Well, you saw my cats. This is. The other cats that I had then, they're all gone. They're all moved on. But and I said to Aaron, I said, I can't. I'm gonna get my. I said, they have quarantine. I said, I'll be arrested. I'll kill people. They can't take my cats and put them in quarantine. What, are you kidding me?
That's amazing.
So he says, He goes, don't worry about it, Tony. He goes, fly in my private jet. He goes, well, and I said,
he 100% would do that.
Yeah. So then it was like, that was before I got sober. So I wasn't opposed to saying, yes, go, yeah, sure, man, yeah. Now I couldn't do that because I wouldn't be able to lie,
Right.
But but it was great because we'll fly on the private jet. We'll get you and the cats in there. Don't worry about it.
Hey, when Aaron was in your corner, he would do anything for you.
Wasn't he a nice man? I mean,
so great.
What the story about him one time? Candace, his wife, when they built that unbelievable home in Homely Hills, she happened to be looking out of one of the windows on the second floor where she had like she had a second floor. The whole house was a closet. And anyway, she was looking out for the bedroom, and she looked over, and there was Robinson May, in the one in Beverly Hills. So she says to Aaron, she says, Aaron, we got this stupid red sign in our view. It's just crazy. And he goes, what do you want me to do? And I know this because Brandon Tartikoff tells me the story. He goes, what do you want me to do about it? She goes, can you get him to move the sign or get rid of it? Because he loved his wife and he wanted to make her happy, he calls up the guy from Robinson, Maine. He goes, listen, this is Aaron Spelling, I don't know if you know who I am. And the guy goes, yeah, I know who you are. He goes, well, I was wondering if it would be possible if you could move the sign. He goes, what sign? He goes, your Robinson sign. He goes, are you kidding me? And he goes, no, just like move it over or lower it because it's right in my view. He goes, I'm not going to move the sign. Then Aaron says, look, I'll pay to have it moved. He goes, no, I'm not moving the sign. And then Aaron went about the process of trying to buy out Robinson May so that he could own the store and take that sign down. This is straight up. If I'm lying, I'm dying. This is the story that was told to me. So if it's just urban myth for L.A., then it's an urban myth that I was told. And and I just thought, how cool is that? He's like saying, look, I got it. Why not flaunt it, right?
He literally was like the godfather of television then. Like, I had to have a surgery at the end of the first season, and I was on one floor at Cedars-Sinai, and then suddenly I was being moved to another floor at Cedars because this was the Aaron Spelling floor, and she needs to be here, and she's going to be in this room now. And I wake up from the surgery, and I kid you not, there are two producers at my bedside, Jim Conway and Duke Vincent, at my bedside. Like,
Duke
when
Vincent
I wake
came
up
to your bedside? Wow.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I did. And I was like, wow, I'm either dead or I'm in big trouble or I'm about to be fired.
Do you know how Aaron got his start? He was the music.
I think it was Duke.
He selected the music on I Dream a Genie. If you look at old credits of the first year of I Dream a Genie, musical direction or whatever, musicals.
Like the music supervisor or whatever?
Yeah, music supervisor, Aaron Spelling. Whoa. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Yeah, and he and Duke have a very interesting story as well.
I don't know that story that well, but I know they were together a long time.
Yeah, I mean, and Aaron was so involved with us in the beginning, like down to not just like, music like that. He was so involved, but also clothing. He wanted to see our clothing, down to what earrings we would wear. And if we had hair things, if we had clips in our hair, he wanted to see them. And he didn't just want like a Polaroid of it, because back then it was Polaroids. He wanted to see them in his hand. Like, he was that involved.
I had heard he had every single job on the set, from craft service to, everything behind the scenes.
It's possible. It's possible. I know, there's a few guys out there that have had that experience where they've done everything. And so they, it's not that they, and Spelling was not a guy to turn around and say, hey, I used to do that job and I did it better than you. He wasn't that kind of guy.
No.
You knew what your duties were. You knew what you were responsible for. And, and that was it. I mean, like I said, I met him through Michael Mann, Michael, in a sense, was my rabbi. He got me my big break. And for some reason, I guess Aaron and I really hit it. I thought we had a nice time at my Brandon's birthday party. He was very pleasant. We talked about a lot of stuff. He definitely took care of me. Let me tell you, when that Melrose Place came, it was like manna from heaven at the time. I mean, it really was.
This has been a reoccurring theme that we've talked about on the show thus far, is how incredibly loyal Aaron was to all of us and to everyone that he had a relationship, and you're just kind of only corroborating that thought. And he was just so lovely and kind and hands-on and really championed you, like really cared about everything, and it showed with his shows, and it showed with how he treated people.
Like I said, I mean, I mean, even if he did something terrible to me, I would never tell. I mean, if he double-crossed me, because at this point, first, like, he's gone, and I don't like to speak ill of the dead. You know, it's not fair. They can't defend themselves. But, you know, I mean, unless they're dead like 100 years, then you can say whatever the hell you want. You know, because then everything you're saying is practically rumor anyway. But again, I mean, obviously, Aaron had something to do with that decision, so that's why I wasn't angry. I was just sad. I loved that day like it was yesterday. And I was standing in front of a green screen, and I just said, you know, I'll just trust what they say. You know, and then when the episode came in, you see the lightning bolt hitting me in the head. It makes sense that I would shake like this if I was being struck by lightning, for God's sake.
I can't imagine being there first day and you hear like, okay, so this is going to happen to you, but we got to shimmy and you're going to melt, but like the other people are going to melt, you're not going to melt.
Yeah, I mean, but it was so funny though. When you saw the actual episode and you said, okay, makes sense that I would shake like that. You know?
Absolutely.
Do you remember how they did the thing where that you got where Prue like flies you against the wall? Like,
well, that was that. That's been around for a long time. That was like, you know, you're on a harness, and you get
like a zip harness.
Yeah, it's like they do it a lot when they shoot somebody. You know, like they go boom with a shotgun. The guy flies in the air. Well, that's what it is. They've been using that since the 50s, for God's sakes.
Listen, the kids want to know these things. They don't know
It's true.
I mean, look, there's a lot of times movies come out, or they have the shows like how, you know, how we did it, or, you know, how do you make it? A lot of times I don't want to know. I like right. I mean, like when they would do something about Star Wars, and they were like, I don't want to know. I want to believe
they
the
showed
magic.
them in like the fighter, the like jet pilot things, and you just see the shell of it, and you don't want to see it. You want the movie magic to remain.
It's true. Yeah. Once I saw that big room and the model and how they did it with the light, I'm like,
But I actually like those. I think the original Star Wars, on some level, I mean, CGI has come obviously a long way, but when they were doing practicals, it really looks cool. Like it looks tangible in a way that CGI didn't.
Yeah.
2001: A Space Odyssey. You look at that. I mean, that was all like, you know, miniatures and these like in sets and you know, and I mean, just incredible how they made that movie, I'm sure. And the same thing with the first Star Wars. I mean,
it looked real.
I mean, that's like, holy moly, that stuff was cool. I mean, now with, you know, CGI, I mean, if you got the technology, then use it, you know, and have fun and go do what you got to do. But there's still something sort of like really remarkable about. I mean, look what the hell, when you look at the Wizard of Oz and you realize that the hurricane, the tornado is a nylon stocking, for God's sakes.
That's
what?
amazing.
You know? Yeah. You didn't know that? Oh, you thought it was a real tornado? No, it's a nylon
I mean, like,
stocking.
I never even thought about how did they actually
stocking.
pull that off, but it was a nylon stocking?
Yeah,
It
nylon
just
stocking.
changes everything, doesn't it?
Oh my God. Hold on, guys.
Yeah, look at
It just
next time
makes it so much better.
next time you watch it, it's like really, really cool.
I wasn't ready for that.
Never ready.
Damn. Maybe like prep me next time. Just give me like a little warning, just so I can just brace myself. Incredible. Well, Tony, what are you working on right now? Anything that you're really excited about?
Well, right now Mike Robin, who did the closer of Major Crimes, he called me up about 2 years ago and said he's doing another show, and would I like to come on and play with them? And I said, yeah, sure. And so I play the father of Wilson Bickel, who's the second guy on the show. I've done like 2 years of it. I've done like about 13, 14 episodes. You know, they pay me a nice amount of money, and you know, I go in and I do it, and I have fun. And you know, and I'm trying to get some things off the ground right now. I have this really great streak. I've done 9 television pilots, and every pilot has gone to series. Now, they haven't gone for years, you know, but they, you know, and some were a foregone conclusion that they're already picked up, you know. But I can still count them in my so, because when Mike Robin called me up to do All Rise, he goes, yeah, you can bring your magic juju to the show. And then he wrote me a letter when they got picked up, and he goes, your streak's still alive, man. So
That's
9.
amazing.
That's incredible.
yeah,
Although
That
I
is such
do-
a feat.
I only
that's
have
why
one
I think I
pilot
got
that
one
didn't
more
make
in
it.
me. I got one more in me.
That's what I
one
say.
more good one.
That's what I
You're
say.
Who knows?
capping it
Maybe
at
we'll
10?
work together again, Holly.
I
You never
think
know.
we will. I think we were shorted. And I also
Yes,
think
we
you
were.
were probably too expensive for us, is what I'm deciphering right about now. You were too expensive, weren't you? You were fancy.
No, I don't know. I don't remember what they. No, for that they that when you're not on a show. At the time, I wasn't on a show. They pay whatever they want.
When did you find your love and passion for acting?
It was later
did you
in
go
life.
through college and you had some early jobs? I noticed.
It was after college. Like I said, I've done so many different things in my life. I mean, really, I had like that movie that Woody Allen did, Zellick. I had like sort of a Zellick life. I mean, certain famous people that I met through my life, even before I got my break in acting and and hung out with. But anyway, I was out of college. I was the newspaper had merged with another newspaper, and I was out of work, and I was trying to decide what to do with my life. And my then ex-wife, now my ex-wife, but my then wife said, "Why don't you take a class at the college? A continuing education class or something?" So I said, "Okay," because I lived in the college town, New Paltz, and I looked in their pamphlet, and there was acting or photography were the only two that interested me. And so I said, I didn't have the money to buy a camera, really, I was on unemployment, so. And so I said, okay, let me take this acting class, because I remember my mom, God rest her soul, she used to say, Anthony, she goes, you ought to be an actor, because you're like the greatest storyteller that ever lived, euphemism for I lied through my teeth, So I took the acting class. The teacher, his name was Fred Douglas DeMayo. I still remember the guy's name. And he said to me one day during the class, he goes, he says, you got something, and I thought, okay. And he asked me to do a scene night for the continuing education program. They were going to do like music recital, dance recital, a little quartet, and at the end of the evening was going to be a scene from a play. And the scene we were going to do, he played Biff, I played Happy from Death of a Salesman. And it's the first night that they're back, and they're in their room talking, and down in the kitchen, the father Willie Loman is going crazy. So anyway, we're going to do this scene. We rehearsed a 10-minute scene for like about 2 weeks, And but when we get to the night of doing, I was petrified. I mean, I even thought about calling in a bomb scare. I was so scared. How am I going to get out of this? I can't get out. What are you kidding? And so sure enough, I'm up on the stage, and then I have to go down. The first cue is a music cue, which is somebody's playing a flute up in the lighting booth, and it was like a really erratic little notes to represent, Willie Loman going off kilter. And so like I walk down, and I turn to Fred, and I look at him he's in back by the two beds, and I look at him and I go, you hear that? He's doing it again. And then I suddenly realized that I exhaled because I had held my breath, I think, for like about 10 minutes. And I went, and then as I was breathing, I could feel the audience breathing with me. And then I sensed that they were waiting for me to talk again. And then I said right then and there on the stage, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Oh. And that was it. And then I just went about the business of trying to make that. I produced a play in New York, Indian Wants the Bronx. I went to New York, and Pacino was the last time it had been done, and it hadn't been done like 7 years or 8 years in New York. So I went down and I did that, and then I lived in New York for like, which is where I'm from originally, but I went down there and I did it for like, 2-3 years. I got sidetracked, with gambling and drugs and stuff, and, then found my way back on my path again. And then I got the break on Crime Story, which came out of nowhere. Anyway.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Tony.
It's good to
Really
see you.
appreciate you, sir.
Sicilian, ci vediamo. Ci vediamo, so see you again another day. And in Yiddish, it's sei gesund. Sei gesund.
Ciao.
Ciao, bella. Ciao, bella. Ciao, bella.
Grazie.
Amazing.
Tony, it's so good.
Many dad regrets right now.
Great energy.
Really great energy. Holly's having all the feels, with all the emotions. Like she's like, man, I'm sorry. Do you want to talk about it? It's
reunion time. No,
you have this is a safe space.
Thank you.
Just the three of us.
He
no one else.
brings as a human. that's the question is at the end of episode 3, you know, you guys are watching the video of you as kids and, you know, that whole connection with him. I mean, that was almost the most emotion you guys had
So
to
far?
start the show
Yeah.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Until, you know, Dale/Leo walks in.
I really need to
different
find
type of
out if it was
emotion.
Dale.
Which, by the way, you'll see that, you know, Piper in the next episode clearly has her future planned out with the next guy. I truly think that maybe you were meant for Phoebe. I think the handyman
That was the first start. Yeah, she found me.
Yeah, I mean, finders keepers.
Yeah.
But
She saw you
Phoebe first found Hans.
Apparently not.
Don't worry about Hans.
No, because she even says, yeah, what is, oh, yeah, that is the next episode. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I committed myself.
Yeah, we see
to a
who
dead
you
guy.
really love too, I think, in future episodes, because obviously I'm not, there was a love that I never really knew about, or did I? We'll find out.
Well,
We'll
I'm
find
sorry.
out.
If you're like an angel and eternal, that means you were just watching from above the whole time, which is super creepy.
That's a full Andy move, dude.
So, yeah,
Just like-
talk about
Listen,
Andy.
at the
Yeah,
end of
just
this
a little
episode, you
creepy.
put me in the attic and nobody let me out. So Leo's in the attic.
That's how we like to keep our men, basically.
Dale's in the attic.
Dale's in the attic. We got to roll with it, Dale. I'm telling you. They said Dale. Alyssa said Dale.
Listen, 50 Shades of Grey can do it. We can put you in the attic for a little bit.
Sure.
Sorry.
Sure.
Dude,
All right,
they
well-
just should have let me loose, but no. It was a family
you.
show.
It is a family show.
Okay.
Not was, is.
Is.
Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Leo in the Attic. Season 1, Episode 3. Dale in the Attic. And
Are you
special
really
shout out
up there
to-
for 3 episodes?
Just
We'll
hanging.
see.
I
Shout
think
out
so.
to our Patreon members, y'all. Thank
Cool.
them. We're here because of you.
We need to introduce like an interaction of Leo in the attic.
You play your cards right, Leo can be in your attic.
Leo can be in your attic. Whoa.
Wait.
Hey, let's
Wait.
No one said
let's take that
basement.
back. Can we
No one said basement.
Everyone back to 1 and do it again.
Anyhow.
Okay, wheels didn't fall totally off. I think they stayed on.
Only
No,
one.
that was amazing. I'm so inspired by Tony.
He's the greatest.
I hope you all are too. He's, you know, real proof that if you want to do something and you just love yourself and go after it. And if you're a good person, good things happen to you. And he's walking epitome of it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody for stopping by today. Episode 3, Season 1. We had Tony Denison, who was just amazing. Thank you to all our Patreon fans. Stay tuned. Next episode is going to be fantastic. Another surprise guest. And we hope to see you there.
Thanks, y'all. Really appreciate all the love and support. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in your preferred podcast listening
Genre.
outlet.
Please.
Spotify, iHeart, all the things. Apple.
Apple. Don't forget Apple.
Tidal. Is Tidal a thing?
I don't know. I just
know.
work here, dude.
Okay.
Grazie, prego.
You're a yes woman.
We know that not to be true.
Anyway,
Thank you all.
everyone.
Thank you. Blessed be.
Blessed be.